that was an easy, inexpensive solution to a lot of problems. You have a throat infection, you need someone to write you a prescription and just ensure that, you have a bacterial infection. That's it.
True. This movement towards specialization, which has happened in all these years,
Right.
there is no turning back from that now.
Okay.
We are in a specialized and super specialized era.
Okay.
Where the greater number of degrees and if obtained from abroad is better. And of course, only if you can afford it.
So, why is it the thing now? Because it has that much signaling power that the quality of whatever medical advice that you get will be that much better?
Indeed.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but there are multiple reasons. One is that everybody wants the best care. So a specialist is seen as someone who can solve your problem in one go.
Right.
You wouldn't want to first go to a GP who will then forward it to somewhere else. Also, with the greater corporatization of hospitals, the notion that the productivity of these doctors increases, who allots you just say 2 minutes after you have gone through a series of people.
Right. Somebody takes your weight and your BP and something else. Somebody else writes case notes on a page. And then this senior doctor just spends 2 minutes, right?
Right. And all this compounded with the fact that the average quality of a simple MBBS graduate is slightly dubious. People wouldn't really want to go through that process if you have the means to do it.
Right. And yeah, it's not like as a new MBBS doctor, if you just set up your own clinic, very difficult to attract patients and be trusted, right? Because if you're talking about family doctor and so on, you need trust. You typically need someone who looks old, who looks wise, who's seen a lot of patients, lots of things like that.
Indeed. There is, as you were rightly mentioning, there's no career progression for that MBBS doctor. So there is only one way that fellow has to look towards and that is securing a postgraduate seat, and which is in short supply.
And that's much smaller, right? I mean, you were talking about 79,000 or something MBBS seats.
So roughly half, about 40,000 seats.
Wow. Okay. And that's spread across surgery, everything.
Absolutely.
And then if we finally come to a question like, why don't we have enough mental health professionals in India? We don't have any medical professionals in India.
Oh, yeah.
Why would they go to mental health?
Exactly. The psychiatry specialization ratio is terrible.
Okay.
Is beyond bad.
So you have, in a way, short supply of many specialities as well.
Yes.
And of course, surgery and a few other things, you will find people.
Indeed.
Unfortunately, often at the right price point only, right? Or in the government system. So this is the state of affairs. Anything you can tell us about any efforts for working doctors that are currently there? Is there any retraining classes that are done anywhere? Anything that you have come across?
There are increasingly more number of continuing medical education workshops and all are being conducted for doctors, but then they are not a structured program as such.
Right.
So it is for that individual to find out what is happening in their own field. Although some credit hours are being given, and this is a good change that has happened in recent time, that doctors have to earn certain number of credit hours through attending conferences, CMEs. So putting the effectiveness of those things aside, there is now a mechanism built where people are encouraged to, or they're even mandated to some extent to attend these, continuing medical education programs.
Okay. So there's at least something
Yes.
which can hopefully be strengthened as well.
Definitely.
And the final thing I want to touch upon before we take a break and dive into this NMC entirely is that one of the challenges today, people have complained about brain drain in medical education for a very long time, right? Oh, the best doctors, they get subsidized medical education from the government, and first thing they do, they write the USMLE, go to the US or go to UK or somewhere else. And there have been quite a few moves in the last 2 decades where compulsory rural postings and all kinds of things have been done, right? So can you give us like a sense of